Zamfara state government has announced new drastic measures to stop terrorists from attacking and kidnapping innocent people in the state. The state's Commissioner for Justice, Ibrahim Magaji Dosara, said the state will now allow individuals wishing to acquire guns to do so in order to defend themselves. He said the government has also directed the State Commissioner of Police to issue license to all those who qualify and are wishing to obtain such guns. Other new measures introduced by the state are a center to be established for the collection of intelligence on the activities of informants, the state's House of Assembly to pass informants bill before it, recruitment of 200 additional community protection guards in each of the 19 emirates of the state, making it 500 per emirate, formation of a special committee to receive intelligence on the activities of informants, formation of additional paramilitary unit, and reconstituting of the State Committee on prosecution of banditry-related offenses. In some councils, the state has approved the immediate closure of all markets and Kara. In addition, the state has also banned riding of motorbikes and selling of petroleum products in some parts of the state. Well, with the latest information from Zamfara State urging citizens to get gun for protection, it seems the country is entering, if you like, another era in its fight against insecurity. Joining me to discuss this issue are the former Deputy Director of the Department of State Service, DSS, Dennis Amachree, and ARISE analyst, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Gentlemen, glad to have you join me. You just had me read that the governor of Zamfara State has said citizens should buy guns and defend themselves. Let me just start with you in the studio here before I go to our off-site studio where Amachree is. Just give me what you think about that comment coming from the governor of Zamfara State.
Well, it's looking like an audacious move, and of course, you may not easily blame the state government, for making that move, considering that they've been peppered over the months by these bandits. And of course, when you are faced with this kind of situation, it's important to be creative, But there are so many other ways to unpack it, Arm bearing is not an easy thing for citizens. We have had countries around the world who give the opportunity for citizens to bear arms, and we have seen them withdrawn it at different times. New Zealand is one, England is one. The United States, of course, despite the First Amendment, is still struggling with it to review it, through Congress on account of, the many misuses, many abuses of arms, In our own context, we're a struggling economy. There are so many reasons why we may legitimately fear that arm bearing may become an economic tool, in the hands of citizens, who think that they're momentarily empowered to ride over the one that does not have arm, So that danger subsists. But the slightly gratifying thing is that the Zamfara state government is including the police, cognizance of the fact that, it's illegal to bear arms, and of course, if you have to do it, you need the permission of the police. It is interesting to see that licenses are going to be given, but irrespective of that is the question of, training. It requires some level of training before you can use arms. To what extent are those who are going to be licensed to use it be trained? You may also argue that the bandits are not especially trained, but who knows? That may lead to more abuses. The bandits, of course, the kidnappers, they abuse it ordinarily, then asking citizens who are not essentially trained to bear arms may just be like expanding the range of those who are not trained to use arms, So it may lead to a degeneration of the system, and of course, maybe we need to think some more before we get into it, But don't also forget the psychology of arm bearing. Sometimes when you have arms, you think that, you are protected, but the other person, who has arm will be thinking of outdoing you. So it might just become a situation of who is going to outgun each other, and of course we fear a situation where we degenerate into a Hobbesian state, a state where it's going to be the survival of the fittest, I expect that, more thinking will go into this. I do not know the level of consultation that Zamfara State has gone, with the state government, with the federal government and all other agencies, security agencies as the case could be, before they came to this conclusion. But it's an audacious move. I sympathize with them, but it's a thing that requires deep thinking, so that rather than solving the problem, it's not going to compound it at the end of the day.
Good. Rather than solving the problem, let's not compound it at the end of the day. By the way, let me just say that Dennis Amachree is joining us from Texas, in the United States. Dennis, glad to have you once again. He's raised some very pertinent issues, but I am concerned about the capability in terms of resources. When you said that citizens should go buy guns, are guns cheap? Can they afford it? I want you to look at that, because it's easy to talk. It's easy to say go and buy guns. I mean, you're talking about people who may not even have money to feed themselves, but go and buy guns. I want you to look at that, and it raised the issue of training and degeneration if things might turn bad when you have individuals who are not trained to handle guns, psychology-wise and all that. Dennis.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Prof has said it all. Basically, what are the dangers of using guns? People who are not trained to use guns could just use it to even kill themselves. And many people have been agitating, allow us to have guns. Let everybody have guns, But it is not advisable, because like Prof said, you have to be trained to handle it. And how many training ranges do we have in Nigeria that will now equip the people to, give them that skill of shooting the guns? Right now in the United States, the state of Texas itself has allowed people to carry guns. If you're above 21, you don't need a permit. You just walk in and go and buy a gun, and then you can just use it, including AR-15s, which are assault rifles, just like the AK-47. Now, the governor said that basic weapons, I don't know what he meant by that. Is he talking about dead gun, or is he talking about pistols? Because when and they are going to facilitate people from getting it. I think that's going to be a lot of money, but the weapon of choice by the bandits is AK-47 and other bigger weapons. So if you are going to counter them, then you must have the same kind of gun that they are carrying for those people that you are going to issue it to. So if I can see that they've created a community protection guards, and those guards should be well trained. He has gone ahead to ask for a bill to legalize them, etc., etc. But like I said, these guns are expensive. Many people don't realize that AK-47 in the black market is 400,000 naira. 400,000 naira. And you can see where the bandits are carrying all these weapons. And that's why we're saying that it is not these ragtag people that are buying the guns. Somebody must be sponsoring them. So if as a state government they want to buy it and give to people, they have to spend a lot of money, and at the same time train them. And then of course, the danger is there that they might start, it might be anarchy. I don't support that idea.
Good. Dennis doesn't support that idea. And by the way, for nomenclature purposes, these are called terrorists now, no longer bandits. So let's stick with calling them what they are really by the government, and not just bandits. Let's name them the way they should be named. All right. He did allude to that a little bit. A center to be established for the collection of intelligence on the activities of informants. The State House of Assembly to pass informants bill and all that. And then there is also the question of recruiting 200 additional community protection guards in each of the 19 emirates of the state. Shouldn't this be the focus of both the government of the day and then the security agencies. I'm talking about intelligence instead of asking people to buy guns. He just had Dennis say that to buy an AK-47 will cost 400,000 naira. Is the government going to foot the bill for the citizens? Prof?
Yeah, those are the complications that can be very concerning, really. Of course, you know what it means, to train the security agencies in the states, state-owned security agencies. We're talking about the army, the secret police, the DSS, the police and other agencies in the security brackets. It can be very complicated. Training them, it takes years, it goes through structures, then it's only in situations of a very dire emergency, like in the build-up to the Ukraine-Russia war, for instance, the Ukrainian authorities had to ask their citizens to go and bear arms, and of course we are still to see how well that has helped them, in fighting the Russians, irrespective of their resistance, over the months, But I'm afraid, I'm not sure we're at that point yet, if we're resorting to arm bearing, it might just be something that might be difficult to come back from, because at some point in the future we might be asking those who have arms again to submit them, in a situation where we probably will have seen that it's been unhelpful. I would rather that we look at, the fundamental causes, of terrorism, of banditry and kidnapping, as the case could be. And what are these fundamental causes? We've made the point severally that is rooted in our economy, rooted in our political economy, which is very problematic. The fact that our system is borderless, proliferation of light and small arms over the years, and the fact that, of course, there has been some inadequacies on the part of our security agencies, on the part of our intelligence, network, to nip some of these things in the bud and probably prevent them. And of course, when it finally comes up to deal with them. Now we're talking about, Zamfara State is talking about strengthening their intelligence network. No doubt, good thinking. Of course, they're in dire straits and they're looking for ways out of it. But what has happened, to previous intelligence gathering mechanism? To what extent, have we been able to process this intelligence into information that will get into intelligence, and to what extent have we been able to act on them? So it's most likely going to create further complications. What I think we should do in the circumstance is focus on the long-term solution, which is improving good governance, trying to prevent corruption, in sectors that relate to dealing with these menace, and in the short term, strengthen the agencies, the security agencies, strengthen their numerical strength, their equipment strength as well. The police, the army, as the case could be, expand them, empower them more, so that they can deal with these things appropriately, rather than endangering further the lives of citizens who are probably not going to be trained to bear these arms.
All right, Abiodun there. All right, Dennis, let me come to you. Closing of markets, banning of motorbikes, and then selling of petroleum products in some parts of the state. What's the correlation in trying to tackle this terrorism, both in Zamfara State and in Katsina State? And why does it seem that there's an increase in the activities of these terrorists in the country?
Well, you know that these terrorists are being backed up by foreign terrorists who ISWAP, the Islamic State of West Africa province, had been very, very active, and they have been backing them up. And then, of course, one of their methods of raising funds for their activity is by kidnapping. And you've seen the spate of kidnapping that went up, where they are trying to gather as much money as they could, and then, of course, use it for whatever different purposes that they plan to do. Now, banning motorbikes and, of course, closing markets is, I think, is a strategy of trying to cut off the logistics base of these terrorists. Because look at them. Sometimes they move around with about 200 motorbikes. Now, many people don't see that these motorbikes run on fuel. Now, where is the fuel coming from? So if you ban the motorbikes And then, of course, ban the sellers of some of these fuel materials. That means you are immobilizing them. And the governor said if you see them, anybody riding bike should be shot on sight because they should be the terrorists. The markets, because they also attend these markets, they come there, buy their supplies, and take it in. So what they are doing right now is trying to maybe curtail the logistics base of the terrorists so that they are immobilized.
Amachree, former DSS official there, for being on Newsnight. To you, Abiodun, what would seem to be a lasting solution to the question of this terrorism? What hasn't the government done that they should be doing?
Well, I think we have had over the years that so much funds have been released. You know, we have had at the same time pronouncement from key officials that the funds are not enough. Well, there's a problem there. You know, so much funds being released, and of course, again, you know, a counteracting statement that funds are not enough. So there's a problem there, and that has to be resolved in the right quarters. You know, but overall, first, you know, we also have to look at Zamfara specifically. They are talking about Emirates, you know. That's fine. That's probably a way of classifying administrative arrangement, the administrative mechanism in Zamfara. But where is the place? What has happened to the local governments? You know, are they extinct? Are we no longer supposed to be talking about local governments? What is going to be their place in the circumstance? You know, but directly to answer your question, I would just say what we need to do is improve the efficiency, improve the effectiveness, and improve productivity on the part of the security agencies. So rather than dissipating energy or expanding the range of those who can hold weapons, I will insist that the security agencies we have now should be further empowered in terms of equipment, in terms of boosting of their morale, in terms of their strength, in terms of funding, allowances, and all such things that they need, you know, to take these guys out, you know, because, I mean, they are not spirits, they are humans. There's a route through which they pass. You know, how well have we policed, have we manned those routes? You know, Amachree, the former official just said now, you know, that they work in a network with foreign terrorists. You know, how well have we been able to deal with that? You know, can we not work, you know, at detecting it, you know, interdicting some of the weapons that they bring in from outside, from through the Sahel region? You know, so efficiency, increasing efficiency, enhancing productivity, you know, and all such things are things that we need to do, really. Let's add value to our security agencies, empower them, and make them a better fighting and resistance force, as the case could be.
Add value to our security agencies, empower them and make them a better force, as the case may be. Abiodun ARISE, an analyst, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi, and the former Deputy Director, Department of State Services, DSS, Amachree. Thank you, gentlemen, for being with me on Newsnight tonight.